I started, first of all, as a competitive fencer, a sports fencer, and then I went to theatre school to train as an actor. Was a very bad actor, but found I had a way, I think, of making fights perhaps a little more real than they had been in the old Hollywood era. Easily, and go. 1, 2, envelop, go. Well done, okay. Nobody would believe the amount of work and effort that goes into choreographing a duel or a fight sequence.
We put at least 3 hours a day in every day, plus all the training that we did on our own. You're continually doing your parries and working to get to a point where you're not thinking, you're just reacting.
A major climactic duel will take 3 weeks to choreograph. It sounds like a lot of time, but it's not a lot of time. And if you think that Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers used to take 6 weeks on a dance sequence, it's not surprising it takes that amount of time.
You can't just get an actor and say, like, you know, OK, we've got 4 days to do a sword fight. In any sword fight, people look for skill, for balance and for style. It is a very difficult media to go into as an actor.
Funnily enough, I actually did some fencing when I was a kid, you know, when I was 11, and I actually thought I was pretty good and I won some competitions, but certainly when I turned up in Ireland and began the sword fighting training, I realised that none of it stuck at all, so I had to start from scratch.
My skills are mostly based on the sport, pure fencing, which I then adapted for safety, because of course with the sport you're trying to hit somebody for real without being hit yourself. In film and theatre, what you're doing is creating the illusion of reality and keeping the actors as safe as humanly possible. So there are 2 very different techniques that have to be married together.
Fortunately, I had an athletic background that allowed me to, you know, think, okay, this relates in the fact that you got to have good balance. You have to practice repetition and stop thinking, just react.
I see someone has tortured the sword.
Like you can't go at half speed. It's got to be flat out to make it work. Very few people realise the amount of slow build-up, sometimes with actors who have never done it before in their lives, that is necessary to get them to a point where they can convince an audience that they really are going flat out for real. To the left knee, beat it aside, glance it through, into the hanging parry there. Do you want to just try that? I would choreograph, say, a sequence a day. That's one sequence of about, let's say, 11 moves. Next day, you would add the second sequence. Now you're going back over 2 sequences. Following day, a 3rd sequence. From there, Richard, OK, let's have another coupe, this time for right knee, but make it a little bit higher. So use this parry here for me, Ben, to there. And now let's have a disengage and a circular parry. So I'm going to disengage with the point over, follow around in a circle, Ben, and step back as I step forward there. Slowly, you're building up. At the end of the first week, you might begin to have a finished result. Second week, you're working on it, getting it together. And then the 3rd week is where you're perhaps making little changes, adjustments, so that finally you're ready for shooting, and hopefully you peak with the actors at the right time, ready for the moment that the camera turns on. I hope that there's something inherent in the choreography that I do that is not simply the normal cinematic sword bashing that you see going around in most swashbuckling films. Every move is planned, and what I endeavour to do is never make 2 moves the same. If you watch the pattern of blades, you would see, if you slow motioned it, there's very little repetition in terms of the movements. And this, of course, makes it extremely difficult for the actors, but I hope that the end result is worth the effort.
What we were trying to achieve is a blend of sword fights and physical fights based on reality, and I think that's what's come out in the Count of Monte Cristo, is that the desperation in reality, they will use any means that they can to win.
Now, we need to walk through the next part. Is that okay?
I still get very anxious the day that we're shooting that it's going to go okay. Because ultimately it's the actors there, I stand back, I can't do much more except the odd word here and there in their ear to say this doesn't look quite good enough, or you'd look better if you did this or that. But it's the time to let them get on with it and stand back.
Good! Too good!
I rather enjoyed a sequence we did in the cell with Richard Harris, who had to train Jim, our leading actor. They were only working with sticks that were hidden away because there would be no weapons in the cell, a metal plate and a cup, a mug. So by utilizing these, I was able to make the moves very simple for the actors, that they could perform well, and I hope had a certain amount of wit to it as well.
The knife fight between Jacopo and Edmond takes place on the beach, and Jacopo, who's supposed to be the best knife fighter that the pirates have ever known, is then put up against Edmond.
It had to be short, he had to look good, so it wasn't very long, and it was just a matter really of finding some self-defense moves. We had to see him look good quickly, and the other man had to be on the sand quickly, so it was just a question of selecting the right moves that they could perform well with speed and tell the story.
As you hope to live, do not move an eyelash.
But if you're totally truthful to what actually happened in duels and so on, I think there'd be an awful lot of waiting, an awful lot of pausing, an awful lot of being careful, and that wouldn't go down so well on the screen.
Touch him and I'll kill you.
The final duel develops inside this ruined chateau where there's a confrontation between the son and the father.
Yield, boy. A Montego does not yield.
And the interesting challenge was to make it quite clear that when the son fought the father does not want to kill the boy. It's really quite a difficult message to get across to the audience, because if they're fighting, they're fighting.
Boy, if I have to, I will kill you. I will not stop now. Nor will I. So be it.
But then from that, the fight develops into the classic hero-villain confrontation at the end, and for this we went outside.
No, I couldn't live in a world where you have everything and I have nothing.
It was so important that this final confrontation should just have the audience on the edge of their seats.
The wheat field continually pulled on your legs, so you weren't able to get the kind of movement that you'd like to, and as far as speed, momentum. It was like running in sand.
It was really very difficult. We found the blades were hitting the wheat, moves would go wrong, but to see the two men out in this wheat field fighting away looked breathtaking, I thought. Obviously, you take care that the weapons are as safe as possible. You're not going to work with sharp weapons, that would be foolish. But there's always an element of danger, usually not in the early stages of rehearsal. It's usually just as the actors get confident and they're starting to enjoy it. That's the great danger when they start to get on top of it and something stupid happens.
Jim managed to actually wound me.
That was our last take on that number, and it was such a tight scene that I missed and cut him. And I went, I know that was bad. And he goes, it's okay.
Somewhere down there, these are the things that, you know, that you have to put up with as an actor.
What happened to your mercy? I'm a count, not a saint.
Later on, his shirt came up when we were in the makeup trailer, and I said, I did that to you, didn't I? I wasn't too proud of that.
No, it was fun, you know. When your adrenaline's going, you don't notice the pain.
I think, hopefully, what came up was a rather classic final duel that will both tell the story and be exciting, Because ultimately, if it's not exciting and dramatic and real, that you do keep that danger between the characters, then you've got nothing.